Yo, what is going on YouTube? My name is Dalen, and today we are going to watch a Street Fighter lore video. I don't know which one to watch. I'm definitely not gonna vote. Depending on what y'all say in the comments, y'all can let me know if I should watch this or, I'm gonna definitely check this out. Or if there's any other lore videos out there that's, explaining it better. But, I already know that the Street Fighter lore doesn't make sense probably. And it's probably all over the place. People have been saying it for the longest, so, it's to be expected, but I just want to see what's happening. Especially since EVO is 2 days away, EVO 2025. So, we're going to jump right into this, y'all. Let us get into this. So, yeah. GameSpot, shout out to y'all. Let's see if this lore is explained properly. Let's see it. Let's see it. Where should I put my camera? I thought I should put it here maybe, because it's a fighting game and normally, you put it in the middle. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see what they say. Alright, the complete Street Fighter timeline explained. Let us get into it. This is 2 years ago, so that means this was before Street Fighter 6 came out or when it came out. So yeah.
Street Fighter is a franchise rich with weird and wonderful characters, and dense with narrative twists and turns. There's heroic tales of redemption.
Oh, you know who I want to see? Who's that Seaman guy? Y'all know that Seaman guy from Street Fighter? Let me not look him up because I might see something crazy. I don't want to have to edit this video out, edit some stuff.
From Brazil.
Just want to post it.
But I'm not going to sugarcoat this. The timeline.
Oh, also, I want to look up like where each character is from after I watch this video.
Is an absolute mess. Across 7 entries, the chronology of Capcom's fighting game franchise has been continuously retconned.
I started off playing Street Fighter 4. That was my first time playing it.
Jump around a bit with Street Fighter game. 4 and 5.
I played a little bit of Street Fighter 2 on Android.
Has a multitude of various upgrades and alternate versions, which
I
effectively rewrite and refresh what has gone before.
I don't know.
So with all that in mind, how
but,
does it
I'm
actually
definitely playing Street
together?
Fighter 6.
Well, I'm here to sift through all the noise of the supers, hypers, turbos, ultras, and alphas to provide you with a full breakdown.
And while I'll be dabbling with some of the various spin-offs from the Street Fighter franchise, like the EX side series, this time I will largely stick to the main franchise entries. So no, I won't be attempting to explain how the X-Men factor into the Street Fighter timeline. And that's not even mentioning all the various character endings that contradict one another. Long story short, this is going to be a bit messy, but I'll
Satsui no Hado!
Hey, my name's Adam, and this is the complete Street Fighter timeline fully explained.
Alright, let's get it. Let's get it, me. See if you can make it make sense.
For such a confusing timeline, we actually start quite simply, right at the very beginning with the original 1987 release of Street Fighter.
And to be honest, there's not a whole load of story. That'll come later,
that guy.
Trust me. The original
Why didn't they add him
as
a game?
Players either Ken or Ryu.
Yeah, it was only Ryu and Ken.
Best buds and rivals as they take part in a globe-trotting tournament to become the best fighter in the world. Ryu achieves this by systematically knocking the living crap out of brawlers from across the world.
What are these people?
Before traveling to Thailand
they
to face
a guy
the
in there.
Emperor of Mai Tai,
That's crazy.
Sagat. Ryu doesn't just defeat
Or maybe
Sagat.
that's not Sagat? Because they did say... Wait, didn't they say Sagat was... Is this Street Fighter 2? Or is this like Sagat's brother or something? But I'm pretty sure they said Sagat was like entered into the game. He was first introduced in Street Fighter 2, I think. I don't know, let me know.
Pulverizes him. As seen in the ending,
pretty sure they said that. Damn, that's some Street Fighter 5 stuff. That's that jiggle figure. Yo, that jiggle is crazy, y'all.
Naturally, Sagat swears revenge on Sagat.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me listen. My fault, y'all. I guess I can't commentate too much.
Defeat Sagat. Oh no.
Hold on. Let me focus, y'all.
Trust me. The original Street Fighter
I can't commentate too much.
Ken or Ryu.
Also, my food is here. Hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. Okay, I am back, y'all. Let's get it.
A pair of childhood best buds and rivals as they take part in a globe-trotting tournament to become the best fighter in the world. Ryu achieves this by systematically knocking the living crap out of brawlers from across the world before traveling to Thailand to face the Emperor of Mai Tai, Sagat.
Mai Tai? What did you just say?
Sagat,
huh?
He pulverizes him.
Man, somebody else explain it. Bro said Mai Tai. That must be some British or Australian stuff. I don't know. Bro said Mai
As seen
Tai.
in the ending slate from Street Fighter V Arcade Edition, Ryu delivers the mother of all Shoryukens that gives Saga his iconic chest.
Well, to be fair, I don't actually know how you pronounce it in the Thai language. Is it pronounced Thai or is it pronounced, what did you say? The other way? Or is it pronounced somewhere else? I don't know. Let me know in the comments how it's pronounced. Pretty sure it's Muay Thai, like through English and the Thai language. But yeah, I don't know.
Ryu doesn't just defeat Sagat, oh no, he actually knocking the living crap out of brawlers from across the world before travelling to Thailand to face the Emperor of Muay Thai, Sagat. Ryu doesn't just defeat Sagat, oh no, he...
My time. Bro, and I didn't even realize he says Saget too. I used to call him Saget. I used to call Sagat Saget. Alright. Get it.
Pulverizes him. As seen in the ending slate from Street Fighter V Arcade Edition, Ryu delivers the mother of all Shoryukens that gives Sagat his iconic chest scar.
Oh, that's what did it?
Naturally, Sagat swears revenge on Ryu, which leads him on a dangerous path towards another of Street Fighter's iconic antagonists, but I'm very much getting ahead of myself.
Alright, we are already going off piece from the chronological release of the games, starting with the Street Fighter Alpha series.
The Street Fighter Alpha series, despite coming out after Street Fighter 2, bridges the gap between Street Fighters 1 and 2. And to confuse matters even more, we can largely ignore the original in the series, Street Fighter Alpha Warrior's Dream, as the events in that game are basically remade in its sort of sequel, sort of remake, Alpha 2. Still with me? Good.
Okay, so as this game came out in a post-Street Fighter 2 world, the Alpha series broadens the pool of fighters, and as a result, vastly expands the story.
For starters, the Alpha series doesn't follow the same tournament structure as the original Street Fighter, instead diving into a few different stories across the roster. Of course, the one that's on everyone's minds is the aftermath of the devastating fight between Ryu and Sagat. Ryu, having achieved his ultimate goal of becoming the best in the world, goes off on a little soul-searching, which brings him back home to Japan, where he discovers that his old master Goken has been murdered at the hands of his brother Goki, who is known as Akuma in the Western releases of Street Fighter.
Oh wait, what? This is his brother? And what? He died early? What? And maybe he came back in Street Fighter 4? I don't know. Wait a minute, what?
Which brings him back home to Japan, where he discovers that his old master Goken has been murdered at the hands of his brother Goki, who is known as Akuma in the Western releases of Street Fighter, which is what I'll call him from now on. Akuma, it turns out, is a powerful fighter who's experienced in the dark arts of Satsui no Heido, a force also known as the Killing Intent, which is also present within Ryu, hence the aforementioned soul-searching. Ryu tracks down Akuma to his island home for a big old revenge fight, and as the battle nears its conclusion, Akuma allows Ryu to gain the upper hand before imploring him to embrace the fighting art of Satsui no Heido, before seeking him out again. He then literally punches the island out of existence and vanishes.
Okay, so that's one of the core stories taking place in Alpha 2, but let's have a quick rundown of some of the other key narrative.
By the way, who can win? The entire Street Fighter universe or the entire Tekken universe? Let me know.
For starters, we've got the chronological introduction of the First Lady of Street Fighter, Chun-Li. In Alpha 2, Chun-Li is an Interpol agent searching for clues into the murder of her father, and her investigations eventually lead her into the path of the criminal organisation Shadaloo. All of which brings us to a certain red-suited megalomaniac, the Emperor of Evil himself, M. Bison. Chunez tracks down M. Bison but is overwhelmed by his psychic power, an ability that allows him to, among other things, hover above the ground. M. Bison spares Chun-Li, but she vows to hunt him down for what he did to her father. But Chun-Li isn't the only Street Fighter that comes up against Bison. You see, Alpha 2 also gives us the tragic tale of Charlie Nash, a US Air Force lieutenant. Nash is also on the trail of M. Bison, this time for historical crimes linked to potential corruption within the US military, and the pair finally duke it out in Venezuela. Charlie Nash comes out the winner, but his victory is short-lived, as shortly after, Nash is gunned down and falls over a waterfall to a supposed death. I say supposed as this is Street Fighter and anything goes. Oh, and did I mention Rose?
One Piece shit.
No? Well, Rose is also linked to Bison by the fact that she's the physical embodiment of his exercised goodness, whatever that means. It's totally mad and totally brilliant. Lastly, there's poor old Sagat. After his crushing defeat at the hands of Ryu, Sagat has rededicated himself to training his body and honing his mind to the point where he can successfully rematch Ryu. In this cause, he joins forces with M. Bison's Shadaloo in the hopes that the criminal organisation can help him expedite the process by pitting him against strong fighters.
It does.
So, Sagat gets his rematch with Ryu and is victorious, but he leaves the battlefield with a hollow feeling, and concludes that his opponent has likely let him win. And in that moment he realises that his bitter rivalry with Ryu is pointless, and with that life lesson he commits to becoming a more honourable fighter.
Of course there are plenty more stories, but those are the key ones to the overarching Street Fighter timeline.
Okay.
If I were to go through everything, we'd literally be here for years.
Right, amidst all the clashes in Alpha 2, M. Bison is actively seeking out a host body for his own psycho-powered soul, as his own body is presumably giving up the ghost. Firstly, he orders his Shadaloo scientist to clone a body from his DNA, and this leads to the creation of the genetically engineered Cammy. However, over the course of the game, Cammy starts to become self-aware, and she ultimately goes rogue on a mission to India, where she meets the wise yoga master Dalsim, who could...
So Cammy was bioengineered? No wonder her shit fat.
convinces her of Shadaloo's corruption. With the Cammy clone plan backfiring on Bison, his search for a new body leads him into the path of Ryu, who he takes an immediate interest in. And with his sights set on Ryu's skill and power, Bison sets about creating an all-powerful uber weapon known as the Psycho Drive. It's basically a nuke and a phone charger all rolled into one, capable of destroying cities and recharging Bison's psycho power.
So naturally, the core story of Alpha 3 is everyone's attempts to stop Bison's world domination ploy.
This all boils down to a big bloody fight between Bison and Ryu at Shadaloo's base. In the ensuing fight, Ryu nearly gets overcome by the darkness of the Satsui no Heido, but he's able to overcome its dark allure and overpower Bison once and for all through the power of...
So what is psycho power and what is the Satsui no Heido stuff? Like, why is it inside of them?
Teamwork. And with that, Bison is blown to hell with the overwhelming force of his own psycho power and Ryu's Satsui no Heido. But unbeknownst to literally everyone, Bison's spirit lives on, and he attaches himself to poor old Rose, who's only just coming to terms with the fact that she's a Bison.
Interesting.
Okay, here we go. Street Fighter 2. Or Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo to be more specific, as that's the most recent version of the game that's not a remaster, remake, or an anniversary edition, etc, etc.
Anyway, we're back to a good old tournament plotline to bring things back to basics after all the chaos of the Alpha narratives. This one's kickstarted by M. Bison, who's ditched Rose for a new body and is ready to antagonize. He hosts the World Warrior Tournament as a ploy to lure Akuma out of hiding, so he can brainwash him and take over his sweet, sweet Satsui no Heido power. This massively backfires on him though, as Akuma easily overpowers him before straight up killing the Street Fighter Big Bad for effectively the second time in as many games, but who's counting? Actually, this is canonically a bit of a weird one. Akuma actually does this in a secret entrance, which was later used as a story element in the Udon comics, which aren't canon. But either way, it's generally believed among the fanbase that Akuma killed Bison, so there you go. As for the tournament, well, it's kind of won by everyone, I guess, depending on which fighter you chose at the beginning. Everyone's got a motive to enter though. Chun-Li is still looking for revenge on Bison for the murder of her father. Delsum is looking to win the tourney to raise money for his home village. Good old Ryu just wants to hone his skills. And Ken's just being Ken and enters because Ryu encourages him to.
Hey. Shout out to Ken. He's living his life.
Okay, now it's
no
time
worries.
for a little sidestep into an alternate dimension. And that's for the spin-off series Street Fighter EX.
Right, so I thought it would be odd to make this Street Fighter timeline and not include the EX sub-series, despite the fact that it's technically not canon. But hey-ho. The game features a mix of popular Street Fighter characters, including series mainstays like Ryu, Ken, and Chun-Li,
so this
should I skip original characters created by the developer Arika. And as it has no bearing on this timeline, I'll leave it at that. But it felt odd not even mentioning it.
Okay, you're just gonna skip over. Okay, cool. And this is the one I know about. I think I started with Super Street Fighter.
This timeline is heading all out of order again, as the events of Street Fighter 4 actually take place before the events of Street Fighter 3. Let's get into it.
For obvious reasons, you know, being officially dead and all that, Bison is somewhat AWOL at the beginning of Street Fighter 4. But don't you worry, I'm sure we'll hear from that mad son of a gun soon enough. In the absence of a power-hungry madman to threaten world domination and kickstart worldwide fighting tournaments, a genetically engineered super fighter known as Seth steps up to fill the void. You see, it turns out that at some point preceding the events of Street Fighter 2 and his untimely quote-unquote death, Bison had his Shadaloo scientists create 26 genetically engineered beings as potential hosts in the case of his destruction. Seth was number 15 of the 26 created and saw themselves as superior to the rest due to a greater degree of humanity. Anyway, Seth takes up the mantle of Big Bad for Street Fighter 4, and he establishes the Shadaloo Intimidation Network, or SIN for short, as an offshoot of Bison's nefarious organisation. His big world-conquering plan? It's only another bloody fighting tournament. This one has a similar end goal to the one in Street Fighter 2, in that Seth is looking to gain crucial fighting data on the world's greatest martial artists, chief among them our old pal Ryu. Naturally, Seth wants Ryu for his devastating Satsui no Heido power, and his ultimate endgame of copying that power to become the most powerful being in the whole world. He's got another fancy acronym for this project, which goes by the name of BLECE, or BLECE, which stands for Boiling Liquid Expanding Cell Explosion. And your guess is as good as mine for what exactly that means. Despite all of this, M. Bison rocks back up with a brand new host body to ruin Seth's party. Naturally, they fight, and despite M. Bison having nowhere near the strength he had during his peak alpha years, Bison rocks back up with a brand new host body to ruin Seth's party. Naturally, they fight, and despite M. Bison having nowhere near the strength he had during his peak alpha years, he's able to finish his subordinate off. And to add insult to injury, Bison tells Seth that all of this was according to his grand master plan. Presumably, he had a lot of time to mull things over during his not death. Meanwhile, Ryu, aside from entering into Seth's tourney, eventually encounters his old master Goken, long thought to be dead at the hands of his brother Akuma. Obviously, he's not dead, and hence why he's able to knock Ryu unconscious when he senses the Satsui no Heido operating at overdrive. While Ryu's out for the count, supposed brother murderer Akuma coincidentally rocks up in the fair fight, effectively for the soul of Ryu, who I guess has absolutely no say in all of this. We don't actually see the conclusion of this potentially crucial fight, but suffice to say, Ryu is still knocking about.
Okay. Yeah, it's getting a little weird. What?
Okay, now it's time for Street Fighter V, which also chronologically takes place before the events of Street Fighter 3.
After Seth's brief sojourn with power, M. Bison and Shadaloo are back in business, baby, and Street Fighter V's story, rather ominously entitled A Shadow Falls, details yet another of Bison's harebrained scheme. This one's called Operation Chains, and sees Shadaloo launching 7 satellites known as Black Moons into orbit in a bid to send seismic electromagnetic pulse waves around the world. Bison, who's fueled by psycho power, remember, benefits enormously from the pulse waves, which make him extremely OP. Only there's a hitch in the form of a renegade member of Shadaloo's science department, who steals 7 crucial chess piece-styled keys of the Black Moon project and FedExes them around the world to various Street Fighters. To rectify this workplace misfortune, Bison sends out his latest lieutenant, a lad that goes by the acronym name of Fang, to seize the betrayer. This leads him to recover one of the missing chess pieces from the betrayer's friend, a guy called Rashid, who's one of Street Fighter V's new protagonists. Fang defeats Rashid, nabs the missing chess piece, and immediately uses it to trigger one of the orbiting Black Moon satellites to destroy New York City. Enter our
why is New York in every fighting game, bro? Why, man? Leave it alone.
Twist,
Please.
Charlie Nash. Right, pause for a second. Let's get back up to speed on Charlie.
Yeah, I know.
Last seen falling to his supposed death over a waterfall. You see, Charlie has been through something of an ordeal. In the years since his death, Charlie's body was recovered by a woman called Helen, who has cobbled his lifeless body back together into some hideous patchwork version of his former self. She instructs him to retrieve an item from his old army pal Guile, which will aid him in getting revenge on the man that killed him, M. Bison. Okay, back to the action. So, aside from the shock of seeing their long-dead friend, Guile and Chun-Li are also shocked by the fact that he wants to fight them, all for some chess piece key for a satellite. Anyway, Charlie defeats them and takes possession of the satellite key for his new master Helen. Right, let's talk about Helen. Aside from her successful resurrection of Charlie Nash, Helen has formed a team, including the aforementioned Rashid, who are taking any and every opportunity to dismantle Shadaloo. But they're not the only organisation out to stop Shadaloo. The other team looking to stop Fang and Bison,
you can just tell Cammy got that BBL bioengineered Cammy.
Basically buy her way to the chess pieces. She is successful in wrangling a handful of fighters, but that success doesn't extend to teaming up with perennial good egg Ryu, who declines to have anything to do with the fight against Shadaloo while he's fighting his own internal demon. Unfortunately for Ryu, he's also facing an external demon in the form of Necali, an ancient Aztec god, who has appeared for the cheery motive of defeating the most worthy fighters to literally eat their souls. After he's finished overcoming the power
I heard that
Necali
was
within him, Ryu
supposed to be
finally
evil
decides
Ryu.
to join the fight, and he starts by defeating Necali in combat. From there, he
Fighter
teams up with his warrior friends in a raid on Shadaloo's base of operations. In the ensuing battle, Rashid is able to disengage the Black Moon satellites, while Charlie Nash finally takes his revenge on M. Bison, and, well, he's not exactly successful. While he's no match for Bison, he sacrifices himself to weaken the tyrant's unparalleled psycho power, and this notches him the all-important assist when Ryu steps in to deliver the final blow. And with that, M. Bison is killed, for like the third time if anyone's counting. But there's one final twist in the tale, and that's the real persona of the so-called Helen.
Oh,
you
she's
see, Helen
Seth.
actually goes by the name of Colleen, who initially appeared canonically in Street Fighter 3 as a lackey.
Okay, never mind. I thought she was gonna turn into the female Seth, because I know there's a female Seth.
Boss Gil.
I don't know.
Speaking of Street Fighter 3,
so that's after, I guess.
Yep, we're finally on to Street Fighter 3, or to be more specific, Street Fighter 3 Second Impact, which is effectively a remake of New Generation, which gets bumped off the timeline.
The events of Street Fighter V have brought Shadaloo's run as the big bads of the franchise to an end, but they are quickly replaced by an organisation calling themselves the Illuminati.
Oh, interesting.
The aforementioned Gil is its leader, and he's something.
Wait, is this where it came from? Or was the Illuminati already something like that people was talking about? I don't know. This where it came from?
Restore balance to the world in the wake of Shadaloo's constant threat. What does he do with his newfound power and position? Come on now, say it all together. He holds another fighting tournament. Ostensibly, Gil's motives for the game, and he Shadaloo's run as the big bads of the franchise to an end. But events of Street Fighter V have brought Shadaloo's run as the big bads of the franchise to an end, but they are quickly replaced by an organisation calling themselves the Illuminati. The aforementioned Gil.
Hold on, I'm confused. I'm really confused.
Which is effectively a remake of New Generation.
Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. I gotta.
The events of Street Fighter V have brought Shadaloo's run as the big bads of the franchise
Shadaloo
to an
ended.
end, but they are quickly replaced by an organisation calling themselves the Illuminati.
Okay.
The aforementioned
why is
Gil
Akuma
its
there?
leader, and he's something of a religious zealot who wants to restore balance to the world in the wake of Shadaloo's constant threat. What does he do with his newfound power and position? Come on now, say it all together. He holds another fighting tournament. Ostensibly, Gil's motives for the tournament are only slightly dubious, in that he's using it as a means to test out his competitor's potential for an upcoming apocalyptic event that only he knows about. But at least he's not an out-and-out bad egg like Bison or Seth. His little brother Urian is another kettle of fish though. He's a jealous little lad that hates his brother's guts and secretly wants him dead so he can rule the whole enterprise. Anyway, enough about the Illuminati. We've got another new face to meet in Street Fighter 3, and that's the blonde and buff form of Alex. Alex is another military lad from the United States looking to get revenge, and to that end, he joins Gil's new tournament to get payback for his best mate, who Gil defeated in a fight. And, well, that's about it for his motives at this stage. Long story short, Alex enters the tourney, progresses to the final round and defeats Gil. And along the way, he discovers his true purpose of becoming a world-renowned fighting champion.
Welcome to the world of Street Fighter 3. Prepare for battle.
A purpose which leads directly into Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, which much like the Alpha games goes off-piste for the franchise and doesn't feature a central tournament.
I want to see some Jerry stuff.
Post-tournament glory brings him into the path of Ryu, and well, it's love at first fight for Alex. Despite being absolutely pummeled by the power and skill of Ryu, Alex becomes more than a little obsessed by the warrior, and hunts him down for the ultimate rematch. An event that actually happens even if we're still yet to know the full outcome. And that's just one of many mysteries that have yet to be solved. For starters, there's Gil's prophesizing about the end of the world.
What the?
A cataclysmic event that he needs trained fighters. There's full outcome. And that's just one of many mysteries that have yet to be solved.
Did he become?
For starters,
he became
there's
Gil?
Gil's prophesizing about the end of the world. A cataclysmic event that he needs trained fighters for. Then there's the mysterious figure of Q, a trench coat and fedora wearing possible robot? I mean, who even knows? Very little is known about him.
But the seaman guy.
An ongoing CIA investigation
I know he's there.
into his inexplicable appearance at several high-profile murders all across the globe. Maybe we'll finally find out something, anything about him one day.
And Street Fighter 6, interesting. And that's it. That's crazy.
And that one day might just be now, as all of this leads to Street Fighter 6, which finally extends the franchise into a future beyond the third game.
Street Fighter 6 actually makes you the star of the show, or at least an avatar created by you, and then unfurls you on an open-world metro city where literally everyone knows how to fight. You start your fighting career under the returning, yet newly minted protagonist of Luke, who takes you under his wing as a trainee.
Wasn't he in Street Fighter 5?
Your basic training, another fighter attempts a cheap shot at your avatar behind your back. This reckless lad turns out to be your new rival Bosch, and after a fair amount of scowling, he agrees to team up.
I wonder he's gonna be in Street Fighter 7.
Unleashed upon the open world of Metro
that
City
other girl from
I
was working with Chun-Li.
After being schooled by Luke once again, Bosch decides he needs to go his own way, and he ominously states that he has things he needs to go and take care of. And it doesn't sound like he's got to look after his poor aging grandma, if you get my gist. So with your rival out of the picture, your avatar heads out into the world to find their place and answer that age-old Street Fighter question: what is strength? Pondering this leads your avatar all around the world as they bump into and learn from a pantheon of Street Fighter legends. Chun-Li is training the residents of Metro City in the art of Kung Fu, Ryu is meditating back at his home in Japan, and then there's poor old Ken who's nursing his wounds on a construction site after a run-in with the new big bad in the prequel comic Days of the Eclipse. Speaking of that big bad, he goes by the name of JP, and is the leader of a terrorist organisation known as Amnesia. He's got a history with Shadaloo, having worked with them before they imploded back in Street Fighter V, and this explains why he can wield the same psycho power that Bison could in the events of Street Fighter VI. He also looks the spit image of Christopher Lee, who apparently was the inspiration for the character. Anyway, on your way to the top, you become embroiled in a mysterious plot that might have a little something to do with JP. You see, it turns out that your old rival Bosch was not looking after his grandma after all, and has been caught up in the machinations of Amnesia. Oh, and he's wearing a cardboard box on his head to, well, I guess mask his shock return in the second half of the game. This, of course, all leads to a big old-fashioned fighting tourney, the 5th Suvalhal Martial Arts Tournament, which has been put on by JP. In the lead up to the tournament, your avatar discovers that there's a bomb embedded in the winner's belt, but you're stopped from disarming it by JP himself. Spoilers, the bomb goes off, regardless of whether you win the tourney or not. But in a last moment of heroic redemption, Bosch tries to get the bomb a safe distance away from everyone at the tournament, sacrificing himself in the process.
Damn.
And as JP gloats over his
he's gonna come back in Street Fighter 7.
Decides to get a little payback, and he defeats JP in the process. And the game then ends with JP and your avatar thinking over that same age-old question: what is strength?
And that, my friends, is the Street Fighter timeline explained to the best of my ability. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you like these gaming timelines, we've got one for Zelda, God of War, and Resident Evil.
It was kind of bland.
Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.
Not gonna lie, I ain't gonna hold you to the story was kind of bland. I don't know. Nothing really happened, I guess. Well, I guess that was the story, y'all. Well, I'm gonna edit this, post it up. You know, Evo's on the way, 2 days away, y'all. So yeah. Anyways, by the way, I stream as well, so I'm gonna most definitely stream maybe a couple of minutes. I don't know, but anyways, that is it for this video. Thanks for watching, y'all. Leave a like on this video, subscribe for more content, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.